Hello, friends. In terms of population, India is the leading nation. Have you ever thought why? About 1.47 billion people live in India. India has surpassed China as well. And the surprising thing is that even though 18% of the total population lives in India, then they have only 2% of the total land to live on. This is why it is often said that India is overpopulated. There are said to be multiple reasons for this overpopulation. Some blame education, some blame poverty. It is often said that many Indians are poor and illiterate. That's why they don't know how to plan a family. Poor people are often accused of having more children to have more earners in the family. And some people blame Uttar Pradesh and Bihar entirely. Now, it is true that UP and Bihar contribute heavily to India's large population. So much so that, had UP and Bihar been a separate country, it would have been the third most populous country in the world. Their combined population is 370 million, more than that of America or Indonesia. But the people of UP and Bihar can't be blamed for their vast population. The real cause is beyond people's control. Come, let me explain this mystery in this video. If we look at history, we see a very clear pattern. Not just now, India's population has always been high. 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, even 4,000 years ago. According to British economists, from the year 1 AD to 1000 AD, India accounted for about 30% of the world's population. That is, during these 1,000 years, every third person in the world was Indian. If you look at it today, every sixth person in the world is Indian. The truth is that, as a proportion of the world's population, India's population used to be greater. What was the reason behind this? In one word, geography. When people talk about population, they consider education, literacy rate, poverty, access to health care, all these factors. But they forget to consider the most important factor. Actually, the population depends largely on the geography. Places with rivers and fertile land are the grounds for human civilizations. Even if we look at the oldest civilization in the world, they were always built on the banks of the rivers. Mesopotamia was on the banks of the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. The two great rivers, Tigris and Euphrates, are indeed the water supply. Egypt is on the banks of the Nile, the civilization near the Yellow River in China. This is the Yellow River, the mother of Chinese civilization, and the Indus Valley civilization on the banks of the Indus River in India. All for a simple reason. Places with fertile land make farming easier. This ensures a stable food supply for the people. And because of this stable food supply, it becomes possible to maintain a larger population. Now, amazingly, there are rich, fertile land in India for thousands of years. Not a small piece of land, but the world's largest continuous piece of fertile plain, the Indo-Gangetic Plain. On the map, you can see a strip-like area in North India, starting at Sindh in Pakistan, goes through Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, UP, Bihar, to reach the Sundarbans in Bangladesh. This is the Indo-Gangetic Plain, the world's largest, most fertile alluvial plain. With an area of more than 700,000 square kilometers, it houses 11% of the world's population. This plain was formed due to the highest mountains in the world, the Himalayas. The geological story began approximately 50 million years ago, when the Indian tectonic plate broke away from Gondwana and collided with the Eurasian plate. This collision caused the formation of the Himalaya mountain range, and just at the base of the Himalayas formed a deep depression. Scientists believe that the Himalayas and some Deccan rivers began filling this depression with sediments such as soil and stones about 1.7 million years ago. This caused the accumulation of highly fertile soft soil here, known as alluvium. Since the mountains are so high, they are covered with a lot of snow. This snow melts to form several rivers. Nowhere else in the world will you find a concentration of so many rivers in such a small area. The Indo-Gangetic Plain is named after two rivers, River Indus and River Ganga. But there are three main rivers here: Ganga, which flows to the south, Brahmaputra, which flows to the east, and the Indus River, which flows through Kashmir and Ladakh to the west, towards Pakistan. Around the Indus River, the Indus Valley civilization was settled. According to historian Tim Dyson, at its peak, the population of the Indus Valley civilization was about 4 to 6 million people, much more populous than any other contemporary civilization. China's Yellow River civilization, with a population of 3.5 million, was a close second. But the fact remains, even 4,000 years ago, this region was the most populated in the world due to the fertile plains and these rivers. You will see this pattern everywhere in the world. The places with fertile land are the hotbeds for population. Look at the North China Plain. 3 rivers flow through it: Yellow River, Huai River, and Hai River. This is China's largest alluvial plain, perfect for agriculture, and that's why about 400 million people live here. If you look at the map of China's population density, you'd clearly see that most of the Chinese population lives in this area. This is the most densely populated area in the world. Similarly, around China's longest river, the Yangtze River, live more than 400 million people. Again, it's not just China. Look at Europe. The Netherlands and Belgium are the two most densely populated countries in Europe. In the Netherlands, 531 people live per square kilometer, and in Belgium, 386 people per square kilometer. In comparison, India's average population density is 484. Think about it. India is called overpopulated, but the Netherlands, a European country, is more densely populated, and the reason remains the same. The Netherlands lies on very fertile land. It lies on the delta of the Rhine, Meuse, and Scheldt rivers. There are several rivers, canals all over the country, and flat land. Perfect conditions for agriculture. The Netherlands is a small country, but it is the world's second-largest agriculture exporter. In the surrounding areas of Belgium and northwest Germany, due to the same reasons, the population density is higher. I mean, look at the size comparison here on the map. The Netherlands is half the size of one Indian state, Maharashtra, but still, it is the second-largest agriculture exporter in the world. This should tell you about the potential of this type of fertile land. With their high-tech, sustainable, and intensive farming, they achieved all this, all the while saving more than 90% of the water. They built canals over the rivers and the delta. Everything was designed to maximize the output of every square kilometer. Take Japan, for example. It's quite interesting. It's a small country with a population of more than 120 million. It has very little agricultural land, only 12.5% of the total land. 73% of the country is made up of mountains. But do you know why the population is still so high? The reason is the same. Because historically, food was abundant in Japan. They don't have a lot of fertile land, but the sea around Japan is full of fish and other sea life, and the people there eat a lot of seafood. Because of this, Japan was able to sustain its large population. Now you might be wondering, if fertile land leads to a larger population, then the Nile Valley of Egypt is also fertile. The North China Plain is also fertile. So why isn't the population of these places higher than India's? Friends, here the reason is the difference in the total area. The Indo-Gangetic Plain is so special because it is the world's largest fertile plain. As I told you, it encompasses 700,000 square kilometers. In comparison, the North China Plain is only 400,000 square kilometers big, and the Nile Valley in Egypt lasts for only 33,000 square kilometers. The Nile Valley is a thin strip of land with deserts on both the east and west sides. This is why, out of the 110 million people living in Egypt, 95% of them live within 20 kilometers of the Nile. Because there is no fertile land in other places. It's a desert. Apart from this, there is another major benefit in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, which is absent in most of the other fertile areas in the world: the source of water. There is only one source of water in Egypt, the Nile River. They do not have a season for rain. They receive only a little rainfall throughout the year. Similarly, the North China Plain doesn't receive a lot of rain either. This means they are solely dependent on the water from the river for agriculture. But in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, not only have the Himalayan mountains given several rivers, but they've given us the monsoon season too. After the Arctic and Antarctic, these mountains have the most snow/ice. That's why it is also known as the world's third pole. 10 major rivers emerge from this third pole to supply water to more than 1.9 billion people. Additionally, the Himalayan mountains also act as a barrier for the southwest monsoon winds. Because of these mountains, the winds cannot cross towards Tibet and remain in India. This causes a lot of rainfall in the Indo-Gangetic Plain. We get a proper monsoon season. That's rare in other places. The second advantage is that these mountains block the cold, dry air coming from Central Asia. This ensures that the plains don't get too cold, and crops can grow throughout the year. This gives us triple benefit: good weather, fertile lands, and the season of monsoon. This is why, in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, crops can be grown 2 to 3 times a year. It's very difficult to do this in other places. The plains of the Netherlands and Belgium get very cold in the winters. The plains of North China and the Nile River do not get a monsoon season. But in India, since the climate remains suitable, for thousands of years, at least 2 crops were grown in a year. Around the year 304 BC, in the court of Emperor Chandragupta Maurya, a Greek ambassador, Megasthenes, came. When he went back to Greece, he wrote the most extensive book of the ancient world on India, Indica. In this book, he wrote that in India, 2 crops are grown in a year. And the most shocking thing was that there was no famine in India. Neither was there a shortage of food, because of our 2-crop system: wheat and rice. So even if one crop fails, there won't be a famine. When a land can grow 2 to 3 crops annually, it can also feed twice or thrice the number of people. This is why India has always been more populated than the rest of the world. Now, some people will use the counter-argument that if this is true, how could China have a greater population than India until a few years ago? Come, let's look at history. In the year 1 AD, India had a share of 32.5% of the world's population, and China had a share of 25.8%. Similarly, in the year 1000 AD, 28% of the world's population lived in India and 22% in China. Even until 300 years ago, in the year 1700, India housed 27.3% of the world's population and 22.9% lived in China. You can clearly see the pattern here. Historically, India and China collectively housed about 50 to 60% of the world's population. And comparing the two, the Indian population was always more than that of China. During this entire time period, we see one big exception, one anomaly. One reason because of which, over the last 100 years, China's population had surpassed India's. This wasn't because of a sudden increase in China's population. It happened because India's population declined rapidly. This happened because of British rule. Under British rule, there were 25 major famines in India. Between 1770 to 1947, because of these famines, 30 to 35 million Indians were killed. This number is so high that, for comparison, only 8.5 million people were killed in World War I. That is, the deaths caused by the British rule over India was 4 times than those caused by WWI. During the Great Bengal Famine of 1770, 1/3 of the population of Bengal was wiped out. 10 million people were killed. Similarly, great famines were seen between 1876 and 1878. It killed around 7 to 8 million people. And the most famous is the 1943 Bengal famine, which killed 3 million people. Neither geography nor nature was responsible for these famines. Only the British and their exploitative policies were responsible. For example, the 1943 Bengal famine was caused because the British government started stockpiling grains for their soldiers due to World War II, and so Indian grains were sent to Europe. Roughly speaking, during the thousands of years of Indian history, the British occupation was the anomaly. During this period, India's natural prosperity was artificially suppressed. Since independence, there haven't been any more famines. And so, India's population started increasing again. Between 1947 and 1981, India's population doubled, and in 2001, it crossed 100 crores. This population growth could be possible only because government policies aided India's fertile land. The 1960s saw the Green Revolution in India. After this, the wheat production increased so much that, by 1968, we ran out of space to store it. It had to be stored in schools and theaters. Friends, these are the root causes behind India's population. I'm not saying that factors like education, literacy rate, poverty, and access to health care do not contribute to it. They make a lot of difference. But those factors are secondary to these geographical reasons. With the increase in the literacy rate, people are getting more aware, healthcare facilities are improving, and India's population is also stabilizing. India's total fertility rate is at 1.9 now. In terms of the replacement level, the number of children per woman to maintain the population is 2.1. India has already fallen below the replacement rate. This means that in a few decades, India's population will start declining. According to the UN projections, India's population will peak around the year 2060. After that, it will start declining. In 31 of the 36 states and union territories, the fertility rate is at the replacement level or lower. In some states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and even in West Bengal and Maharashtra, it is now close to that of European countries, between 1.3 and 1.5. The reality is that India's population is now naturally stabilizing. And if someone asks you, why is India so overpopulated? The simple answer would be that India isn't overpopulated. Instead, India is geographically blessed. India has the world's largest continuous fertile plain land and the world's highest mountains. Due to the rapid melting of glaciers, the flow of water in the rivers is increasing, but the total water storage is decreasing. Due to climate change, monsoon patterns are also changing. Some years it rains a lot, and some years it doesn't rain at all. In 2022, due to extreme weather events, crops across 5 million acres were destroyed. Apart from this, due to overuse, the groundwater level in the Indo-Gangetic Plain is decreasing rapidly. We should try our best to preserve this blessing on India. If things aren't controlled now, then the Indo-Gangetic Plain, which has been a blessing for India, will turn into a curse for its large population, and there will be nothing to feed millions of people. That's why, friends, it is crucial that we try our best to save this natural wonder. Do everything you can to keep the rivers clean. Wherever there is deforestation, where forests are cut down, protest against it. And to fight climate change, stop using fossil fuels as much as possible. Thank you very much.